Today we're diving into the past to uncover why some of the most iconic 1970s casseroles have disappeared from our dinner tables. The 1970s was a time when casseroles were at the heart of American home cooking. But over the years, many of these beloved dishes have fallen out of favor. Why did we stop making them? Number 1. Beef Stroganov Casserole. Beef Stroganov casserole was a staple dish in many households during the 1970s, combining the convenience of casserole-style cooking with the rich, comforting flavors of the classic Russian-inspired beef stroganoff. However, while the traditional stroganoff is typically a stovetop dish made with sautéed beef, sour cream, and mushrooms served over egg noodles, the casserole version took this recipe in a different direction by using processed and canned ingredients to simplify the cooking process. One of the defining features of beef stroganoff casserole in the 1970s was its reliance on canned cream of mushroom soup. This ingredient was a staple in many casserole recipes of the time because it offered a creamy, savory base without the need to make a sauce from scratch. The use of canned soups made the dish more accessible to busy families as it required minimal prep and reduced cooking time. However, this reliance on processed ingredients also contributed to the dish's eventual decline in popularity. As tastes shifted towards fresher, more health-conscious cooking, the heavy use of canned soups became less appealing. Another key feature of the casserole was the use of ground beef instead of more traditional cuts like sirloin or tenderloin, which are commonly used in stovetop stroganoff recipes. Ground beef was cheaper and easier to cook in large quantities, making it ideal for casseroles designed to feed multiple people. However, the switch from tender slices of beef to ground meat altered the texture of the dish, making it feel more like a weeknight family meal than a special occasion dish. While ground beef added convenience and affordability, it sacrificed the richness and tenderness that made traditional stroganoff a culinary favorite. The casserole version often included egg noodles or another type of pasta, which would be baked along with the beef and sauce. Baking the noodles in the sauce often resulted in a heavier, sometimes mushy texture compared to the lighter, creamier consistency of freshly cooked noodles in a traditional stroganoff. This difference in texture made the dish feel denser, and over time, as lighter meals became more popular, the casserole lost its appeal. Additionally, many modern home cooks prefer preparing pasta and sauce separately to maintain a fresher, more distinct texture. By the late 1980s and into the 1990s, health concerns around sodium and preservatives became more pronounced, and beef stroganoff casserole, with its reliance on processed soups and canned ingredients, started to be viewed as less healthy. Consumers became more critical of ready-made, heavily processed foods, leading to a decline in the popularity of dishes like this. As food culture shifted towards fresh, homemade meals, the casserole's simplicity, which had once been a selling point, now became a liability. The rise of the food revolution in the late 20th century also brought greater emphasis on authenticity and global cuisine, leading to a preference for more traditional, homemade versions of classic dishes. People began to appreciate the flavors and textures of freshly cooked beef, mushrooms, and sour cream, rather than the processed, shortcut-heavy methods of the casserole. As a result, many families opted to return to the stovetop version of beef stroganoff, which offered a more vibrant and refined take on the dish. Today, while beef stroganoff casserole may still be fondly remembered by those who grew up with it, it's a far cry from the trendy, health-conscious meals that dominate modern kitchens. Its decline mirrors broader changes in American cooking habits, from the convenience-driven culture of the 1970s to the fresher, more ingredient-focused cooking styles of today. The simplicity and convenience that once made beef stroganoff casserole a go-to meal ultimately became the reasons for its fall from favor, as the demands of home cooking evolved towards more complex and health-conscious dishes. Number 2. Tater Tot Casserole. Tater Tot Casserole, a dish synonymous with 1970s American home cooking, was a perfect reflection of the era's love for simplicity and convenience. The recipe typically involved a base of ground beef or sometimes sausage, combined with canned vegetables, usually green beans or corn, and condensed cream soups, often cream of mushroom or chicken. All of this was layered under a generous topping of crispy tater tots, which would brown beautifully in the oven, creating a satisfying crunchy contrast to the creamy filling below. This casserole was a go-to for busy families, especially in the Midwest, where it became part of the hot dish tradition. One key reason for its popularity was the ease of preparation. With pre-cooked ingredients like frozen tater tots and canned soup, it took minimal time to assemble, making it perfect for weeknight dinners. The inclusion of tater tots was a particularly innovative touch. They offered a kid-friendly appeal, and their texture contrasted the soft, creamy filling, making each bite flavorful and satisfying. Tater tots, originally a byproduct of potato processing, became a staple in homes across America, thanks in large part to dishes like this. However, the casserole's reliance on processed ingredients, high sodium content, and fatty components has caused it to lose popularity in more health-conscious times. As the push for fresh, whole foods has grown, many people began to view the dish as overly indulgent and lacking in nutritional value. The heavy use of condensed soups, often loaded with preservatives, doesn't align with the cleaner eating trends we see today. Even the once-loved tater tots themselves are viewed as junk food due to their deep-fried, calorie-dense nature, further contributing to the dish's decline. In recent years, attempts to modernize the tater tot casserole have surfaced, with many recipes opting for homemade sauces, leaner meats like turkey, and more vegetables to balance the richness. There's also a growing trend to use sweet potato tots as a healthier alternative. These changes aim to preserve the nostalgia of the dish while aligning it more closely with contemporary dietary preferences. Number 3, shrimp and grits casserole. Shrimp and grits casserole combines two iconic Southern ingredients into a rich, indulgent dish that was especially popular in the mid-20th century. The dish took the simplicity of traditional shrimp and grits, shrimp sautéed with butter, garlic, and spices, served over creamy, cheesy grits, and turned it into a more structured, baked casserole format. This version became a favorite for gatherings and family meals because it was easy to prepare in large quantities, allowing hosts to serve a classic Southern comfort food in a new, baked format. The preparation usually involved layering cooked shrimp, seasoned with a combination of Cajun spices, onions, and bell peppers, over a base of creamy grits that had been thickened with cheese and butter. In some variations, the shrimp would be combined with a creamy sauce, often made with a roux, and baked into the grits to create a casserole with a golden, crispy top. This gave the dish a rich, indulgent texture that felt heartier than the stovetop version. Despite its initial popularity, the shrimp and grits casserole began to decline as tastes shifted toward more authentic, less heavy versions of Southern cuisine. Traditional shrimp and grits, which is typically served as a stovetop dish, highlights the fresh flavors of the shrimp and the smooth, creamy texture of the grits, without the heaviness of a casserole. Additionally, as more focus was placed on freshness and lightness in cooking, the casserole version, which often incorporated heavy cream, butter, and cheese in large amounts, became less desirable for people looking for lighter meals. Modern variations have tried to reimagine the dish using alternative ingredients like low-fat cheeses, leaner proteins, and more vegetables. However, the baked version of shrimp and grits hasn't experienced a resurgence in the same way that other casseroles have, largely because its stovetop counterpart remains the more traditional and preferred method of preparation. The texture of baked grits, which tends to be denser, contrasts with the creamier consistency of freshly cooked grits, and this has made the baked version less appealing to contemporary palates. Number 4, eggplant Parmesan casserole. Eggplant Parmesan casserole became popular in mid-20th century American kitchens, offering a hearty, vegetarian alternative to meat-heavy casseroles. Originating from the traditional Italian dish melanzane alla parmigiana, this casserole adapted the layered structure of eggplant slices, tomato sauce, and cheese into a more convenient and filling baked format, perfect for feeding families. The appeal of this dish lay in its simplicity. Breaded and fried eggplant slices were layered with marinara sauce, mozzarella, and Parmesan cheese, then baked to create a gooey, comforting meal with a crisp golden top. However, this casserole's downfall can be attributed to several factors. The first is the labor-intensive process of preparing the eggplant. Traditionally, eggplant is sliced, salted to remove bitterness, breaded, and then fried before being layered in the casserole. This preparation is time-consuming and can be messy, requiring multiple steps before the dish even hits the oven. In an era where convenience became increasingly prioritized, the complexity of this dish made it less attractive compared to simpler one-pan meals. Another challenge lies in the texture. When baked, eggplant can become mushy if not properly prepared or if the slices are cut too thin. The breading, which adds a delightful crunch when fried, often loses its crispness once baked under layers of sauce and cheese. As food trends shifted towards lighter meals, the combination of fried eggplant, cheese, and rich tomato sauce started to feel too heavy for many modern eaters, particularly as the dish was often laden with oil from the frying process. The rise of gluten-free and low-carb diets further contributed to its decline. Since the eggplant is traditionally breaded with flour or breadcrumbs, the dish was no longer suitable for many who opted for these dietary trends. Modern cooks began to experiment with lighter versions, such as grilling or baking the eggplant slices instead of frying, or using alternatives like zucchini to reduce the carb load. However, these modifications didn't always achieve the same indulgent texture and flavor that the original casserole offered. Additionally, eggplant itself is a polarizing vegetable. While it's beloved in Mediterranean cuisine, its somewhat spongy texture and mild, sometimes bitter taste have made it less appealing to mainstream palates, especially in American kitchens. The lack of widespread enthusiasm for eggplant as a key ingredient has also contributed to the dish's gradual disappearance from dinner tables. Number 5. Corn pudding casserole. Corn pudding casserole has deep roots in American culinary history, particularly in the South and Midwest, where it became a favorite at family gatherings and holidays. The dish, originally inspired by Native American corn-based dishes, was a natural fit for agricultural regions where corn was plentiful and affordable. Over time, it became a symbol of home-style cooking, representing warmth, comfort, and community. One of the unique aspects of corn pudding casserole is its balance of textures. The outside often bakes to a golden crust, while the inside remains soft and custard-like. This contrast is one of the reasons the dish became so beloved. It offers both a satisfying crispness and a comforting creaminess in every bite. Variations often included additions like cheddar cheese or green chilies, giving the casserole a savory twist and making it more versatile as a side dish for different types of meals. The dish is also noted for its adaptability across different dietary needs. In the 1970s, corn pudding casseroles were often made with canned cream-style corn and a generous helping of butter, contributing to its rich flavor. However, as preferences shifted, healthier versions of corn pudding emerged. Some recipes now use low-fat milk or non-dairy alternatives to reduce the fat content, while still preserving the creamy texture. Whole corn kernels, roasted or grilled before being added to the casserole, give a more natural sweetness and fresher bite compared to the processed, canned corn that was once a staple. The modern decline of corn pudding casserole can be attributed to its association with heavier, calorie-dense dishes. As people became more health-conscious in the 21st century, the casserole, with its butter, cream, and sugar-heavy ingredients, started to seem out of place on the dinner table, particularly as lighter, fresher vegetable dishes became more common. Additionally, corn's reputation as a starchy vegetable, less nutrient-dense compared to others like kale or broccoli, contributed to the casserole's decreasing appeal in everyday cooking. Even though it's not as common in today's kitchens, corn pudding casserole still holds a special place during Thanksgiving and other holiday celebrations. It's a dish that carries a sense of nostalgia, evoking memories of family dinners and regional traditions. Some modern chefs have even revived the dish in high-end restaurants tweaking it with gourmet ingredients like smoked corn or artisan cheeses, giving it a new life while maintaining the essence of the classic recipe. Number 6, chicken spaghetti casserole. Chicken spaghetti casserole emerged as a staple in American kitchens, particularly in the South and Midwest, as a family-friendly, comforting dish that combined classic pantry ingredients. The core of the dish includes cooked chicken, spaghetti, and a creamy sauce, typically made from canned soups like cream of mushroom or cream of chicken. These ingredients are mixed together, sometimes with added vegetables like bell peppers, onions, or mushrooms, and baked in a casserole dish topped with shredded cheese, creating a rich, cheesy crust. One of the reasons this casserole became so popular was its versatility. Leftover chicken or rotisserie chicken could easily be repurposed, making it an economical meal for large families. Its reliance on inexpensive, widely available ingredients like pasta and canned soup also contributed to its appeal during an era when convenience foods were at the height of popularity. In many households, it was the ultimate weeknight meal, as it could be prepped quickly, then popped in the oven to bake, freeing up time for busy parents. However, over time, the dish's reliance on canned soups and processed cheeses, like Velveeta, began to raise health concerns. These ingredients are high in sodium and artificial additives, which don't align with modern trends toward fresher, cleaner eating. In an era of increased focus on whole, unprocessed foods, the heavy, creamy sauce of chicken spaghetti casserole started to feel outdated. As a result, many modern versions of the recipe now substitute homemade sauces, like bechamel or a light tomato-based sauce, in place of canned soups to reduce the processed components and make the dish feel lighter and more nutritious. Number 7, baked Ziti casserole. Baked Ziti casserole is a comforting Italian-American classic that became a go-to dish for families due to its simplicity, affordability, and ability to feed a crowd. This dish is a hybrid of traditional Italian pasta dishes and American casserole cooking, where cooked ziti pasta is mixed with tomato sauce, ricotta or cottage cheese, mozzarella, and sometimes meat before being baked to perfection. The layers of sauce, cheese, and pasta bake together to create a hearty, warm dish that can be customized in countless ways. What makes baked ziti stand out is the way it balances flavors and textures. The ricotta gives the dish its creamy richness, while the tomato sauce adds acidity to cut through the richness. Mozzarella melts on top, forming a gooey, stretchy layer, while the ziti retains its structure, providing bite and substance. Sometimes ground beef, sausage, or even chicken is added to the sauce, enhancing the depth of flavor and turning the dish into a complete meal. The casserole is often topped with Parmesan or more mozzarella, creating a crispy, cheesy crust that contrasts with the soft layers below. One reason baked ziti remains a favorite is its adaptability. It's easy to make ahead, making it perfect for family dinners, potlucks, and gatherings. The dish can also be frozen and reheated, offering convenience for busy households. Over time, variations have emerged, such as using bechamel sauce instead of ricotta or swapping out traditional red sauce for pesto or a creamy Alfredo base, allowing cooks to tailor the dish to their preferences. However, with the rise of lighter, faster meals, baked ziti has seen some decline in everyday cooking. Its carb-heavy nature and reliance on cheese and rich sauces don't align with current trends emphasizing low-carb, gluten-free, or dairy-free diets. Modern versions often experiment with whole wheat or gluten-free pasta, or reduce the amount of cheese, in an attempt to make it more health-conscious. Some cooks even add vegetables like spinach or zucchini to incorporate more nutrition, making it a more balanced dish. While baked ziti may have lost some of its regular place on the dinner table, its status as a comfort food favorite remains strong. Its straightforward assembly and customizable nature continue to make it a go-to for special occasions or when people crave hearty, homemade Italian-American fare. Number 8, beef and biscuit casserole. Beef and biscuit casserole is a classic comfort dish that emerged during a time when hearty, budget-friendly meals were essential for feeding families. The casserole consists of a rich, savory beef filling, typically made from ground beef mixed with onions, garlic, and vegetables like peas, carrots, or green beans, all bound together in a flavorful gravy. This base layer is often made with pantry staples such as canned tomatoes or tomato paste, Worcestershire sauce, and sometimes condensed cream soups, creating a thick, savory sauce that ties the ingredients together. What sets this casserole apart is the layer of fluffy biscuits on top. The biscuits are typically placed over the beef filling before baking, so they absorb some of the flavors from the beef while baking into a golden, crispy crust. This combination of tender, well-seasoned beef and flaky, buttery biscuits makes for a satisfying texture contrast in every bite. In some variations, the biscuits are homemade and drop directly onto the filling, while others use refrigerated canned biscuits for convenience, further solidifying the dish as a weeknight staple. The dish's appeal lies in its ability to stretch ingredients and feed a large group of people with minimal expense. Ground beef was a relatively inexpensive protein in mid-20th century American households, and the addition of biscuits helped to bulk up the meal, making it both filling and cost-effective. The casserole was a popular choice for busy families who needed quick, satisfying meals that could be prepared in one dish, limiting the need for additional sides or complicated recipes. Over time, however, the casserole's reputation began to shift. The reliance on processed ingredients, such as canned biscuits and condensed soups, made it less desirable for health-conscious eaters. As people moved towards fresher, less processed ingredients in their cooking, dishes like beef and biscuit casserole started to feel outdated. The high carbohydrate content from the biscuits, combined with the calorie-dense beef filling, also led to its decline in households trying to reduce fat and carb intake. Modern adaptations have attempted to lighten the dish by using leaner cuts of beef, ground turkey, or even plant-based meat alternatives. Some recipes now incorporate homemade biscuits made with whole grains or gluten-free flours to cater to evolving dietary preferences. Vegetables like spinach, mushrooms, or zucchini are often added to boost nutritional value and create a more balanced meal.